I woke up this morning, reached for my favorite blue sneakers, and realized they were gone because my bedroom floor had turned into a giant, shimmering map of stars. Instead of wood or carpet, I was standing on deep, velvet purple space. And every step I took sent little ripples of silver glitter dancing toward my toy box. The walls of my room weren't white anymore. They were covered in moving, glowing constellations that looked like kittens and dragons made of light. And right in the middle of this starry sea was a tiny, fuzzy problem, a baby cloud named Nimbus. Nimbus wasn't high in the sky where he belonged. He was sitting on my pillow, looking very grey and very soggy. He was so sad that it was actually raining just a little bit right onto my bedspread. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter, he looked like a lost marshmallow that had accidentally rolled into a puddle. "I can't find my way back to the Great Sky Meadow," Nimbus whispered, and his voice sounded like the soft chime of a wind bell. "I was chasing a runaway kite, and I fell through a hole in the evening. I knew I had to help. But how do you get a cloud back home when your floor is made of the midnight sky?" Just then, my bedside lamp began to flicker. But it wasn't the bulb. The lamp neck stretched and twisted until it turned into a long, elegant giraffe made of golden stained glass. This was Glimmer, the light guide. Glimmer didn't speak with words, but when she moved, her neck made a sound like a harp being played by a gentle breeze. "Glimmer knows the way," I told Nimbus, reaching out to pat his soft, misty head. He felt like cool silk and smelled like rain on a hot summer afternoon. "We'll get you back to the meadow." We began our journey across the starlit floor. Walking on the stars felt like walking on bubbles that never popped. Every time my feet touched a glowing star point, it made a soft ting sound, like a finger touching a crystal glass. Glimmer led the way, her golden body casting a warm amber glow that kept the shadows at bay. We passed under my desk, which had transformed into a towering mountain of books, with pages that flapped like the wings of birds. We climbed over a bridge, made entirely of my colorful building blocks, which were now glowing from the inside like precious jewels, ruby red, emerald green, and sapphire blue. As we traveled, Nimbus started to change. Because he wasn't scared anymore, his gray color began to fade. He turned a soft, rosy pink, the color of a peach in the sun. He started to hum a little tune, and instead of rain, he began to drop tiny, glowing dandelion seeds that floated in the air around us. "Look," I pointed toward the window, but it wasn't my backyard outside. Through the glass lay the Great Sky Meadow. It was a vast field of silver grass where the wind played tag with the shadows of the moon. Thousands of other clouds, big puffy white ones, purple sunset ones, and sleepy navy blue ones, were drifting lazily above the silver blades. But the window was locked, and the latch was much too high for a small cloud or a child to reach. "I'm too heavy to fly up there yet," Nimbus sighed, his edges turning a bit gray again. "I've lost my lightness." Glimmer, the golden giraffe, looked at me with her big, glowing eyes. She nudged a small, dusty wooden box toward me. It was my box of brave things, the place where I kept a shiny rock, a feather I found in the park, and a drawing of my family. I realized then that Nimbus didn't need a ladder. He needed a boost of kindness. I sat down on the starlight floor and began to tell Nimbus all the wonderful things about the sky. I told him about how the birds love to tickle the clouds with their wings. I told him how the sun gives the clouds golden crowns every morning. I told him how brave he was for traveling all the way through a bedroom just to find his family. As I spoke, Nimbus began to puff up. He got bigger and lighter. He turned from peach to a brilliant, dazzling white spit. He grew so light that his little cloud toes stopped touching the floor. Glimmer used her long, golden neck to gently nudge the window latch. Asterisk click. The window swung open, and a rush of cool, lavender-scented air filled the room. "You did it, Nimbus," I cheered. With one last happy chime, Nimbus floated toward the opening. Before he left, he leaned down and pressed his cool, misty face against my cheek, a cloud kiss that felt like a tiny spray of peppermint water. He drifted out into the Great Sky Meadow, joining the other clouds who all turned a happy shade of gold to welcome him home. Glimmer the giraffe walked back to my nightstand, folded her long glass legs, and turned back into my cozy lamp. Her light, soft and steady, the starlight on my floor began to fade, turning back into the familiar wood, and the constellations on my walls settled down into the quiet wallpaper I knew so well. I climbed back into bed, feeling the warmth of my blankets. I learned that even when the world feels upside down and the floor turns into space, a little bit of bravery and a few kind words can guide anyone home. The moon looked in through the glass, and I could swear I saw a tiny, white cloud waving a misty hand at me from the Great Sky Meadow. If you want to join us on the next magical adventure, click the subscribe button and ring the bell. Sweet dreams.